Bruce Cockburn, new album, Crowing Ignites. Want to talk a little bit about guitar playing. You've been critically acclaimed for your guitar prowess over the many years. Do you feel that acknowledgement as a player from your peers or from young players coming up?
To some extent I do, sure. I mean, people want to know about guitar, and there was this sort of, I'm not sure how big it is, but there's an identifiable presence in any given audience of people that seem to be more interested in the guitar than the other parts of what I do. But, you know, I don't know, I don't pay much attention to that kind of stuff, really. There's a lot of guitar players in the world, you know, a lot of really good ones. So, you know, the fact that anybody is willing to listen to me is a great gift, and I appreciate that. But I don't have any illusions about where I stand in the you know, in terms of the complexity of what I'm capable of, let's say, but would be one way to define it, you know.
As a guitarist and composer, I mean, you spent a couple of years at Berklee, 64 through 66. Is there anything that you learned there that you find has stuck with you right to this point, even today?
The thing I learned at Berklee that's most evident to me now still is an attitude, really, and a sense of harmony that, because I was studying composition there. I mean, I had guitar as an instrument major, but composition was what I was there for. And I didn't retain a whole lot of what I was taught. I mean, when I dropped out, I was kind of capable of writing a big band chart in the style of Glenn Miller, maybe, or something like that era, you know, with that kind of horn voicings and whatnot. But, you know, I'd have a hard time pulling that together now. But what did stick is that, and it was a product of both the composition classes and the guitar lessons that I had, is that how notes move against each other. So, you know, you can play a chord on the guitar. I mean, it's a very user-friendly instrument in a basic way. It's less user-friendly when you try to get fancy with it, but so is everything else. But you know, you can make a basic chord, but if you want to take that a few steps more, you can move through harmonies in a way that is really kind of unique to the guitar. I mean, you can do that in a different way with keyboard instruments, of course, but guitar is a weird duck. Like, you can play the same note in so many different places on a guitar neck that you can look at it and think, okay, well, I can get the same sound, but I can add things on top of it if I change the bass. If instead of playing the bass note there, I'm playing it, you know, at another point in the neck. So that kind of stuff stayed with me.
I was really struck by and really enjoyed the tone, the guitar tone. It's just, when you record, and this is on all the albums, but it was especially noticeable on this one because it's instrumental. It's crisp, it's clean, it's sharp, it's a very distinctive tone. Outside of new strings, is there anything you do to get that sound? Well,
it's how I play partly. I mean, not that I don't think I'm the cleanest of players. I mean, you listen to guys from Nashville, and in Nashville terms, I play ignorant. You know, because you can hear finger squeaks, and you know, some notes are a little bit, you know, muffled and stuff like that. But I like, if you're going to have these harmonies and these notes and all that sort of stuff, you want to be able to hear what they are. So I try my best to make it as precise as I can. But you know, and a lot of it has to do with how it's recorded. The sound I get, I do like the sound of new strings. Some guitar players don't, but I like the sound of new strings. I like how they ring, and there's more sustain, and there's, you know, there's a brighter quality. But because I pick with my fingers, without finger picks, that gives it a certain tone that's not essentially precise. I mean, fingers are, you know, you're hitting the string with this kind of fat little piece of meat, and it's quite different from the sound of a pick hitting the string. But it does give it a tone that isn't there. That's why I started doing it in the first place. Is that, you know, there's a subtlety of tone that isn't there when you pick with something hard. Not a slight against Nashville guitar players, because there's some wonderful players, some of whom like an excuse to get out to a club and play ignorant. But in the studio, they don't do that, you know, and they're very conscious of how they do these things. And so, you know, in talking to some of those people, I became conscious of it too. But I remember doing a session with somebody from that scene, and this is a long, long time ago, but at the time I was doing a lot of thumb and forefinger single string stuff. If I had to do fast runs, I would use thumb and forefinger. I kind of stopped doing that, but the guy said, well, but that means every note is going to have a different tone from the one before it, like, because you know. I said, yeah, you know. He was like scratching his head about this. Why would you do that? You know, it was sort of offensive to him, I think. But you know. Anyway, I like how I play. No. I mean, I like the approach that I have.